Check back in about 12 years. I think we'll have it down. Again, you guys, welcome to Storm Crow Dreamers Talking Dreamers. My name is JD Glasscock. This is Mark Potter. Say hello to him. We were going to have all this nice film of burning cigarettes, but there was a sound issue. Sound wasn't coming through. And then, so we're going to just go ahead with the lovely interview. I have amazing guests tonight. I shot the first film I wrote and directed by myself. I had done one other film right before that where I kind of co-directed. I wrote it, but I co-directed it and co-produced it. And then after that, I'm like, hey, I just want to direct my own stuff. So about 3-4 months later, I directed I wrote it and then directed Burning Cigarettes, and found 2 amazing actors I hadn't really known very well before. I think I had met them, but I didn't know them real well. And they ended up blowing that film out of the water. That film ended up winning awards and all that kind of stuff. So I figure it's been 5.5, almost 6 years now. I've shot like 13 short films, a couple music videos. And they're also both cast in my upcoming feature we're working on getting funding for. So, but I'll introduce them in a second, but let me do what I'm, normally going to do in the beginning of every show. Once we have sponsors, this is where you will be in the end. But if you love what we're doing, if you love what we're trying to do and want to see us get there and help us get there, and you're a sponsor, and you want to be a sponsor and you have a business and you want your product advertised on our show, these will all be archived on YouTube as well as here. So hit us up, send us a message, and Mark will get back to you on the details for that. We will have a donate. I don't think that's ready yet, right, Mark, the donate button? Okay, that's fine. So what we will eventually have a way for you, just fans that want to help us get where we're going, help us with getting more tech or more help and stuff like that in the background, so we can make these things smoother as we go. And so next week you'll have that opportunity if you want to donate a little bit to help the cause. You will get that opportunity. Now, Mark, which guest do you want to bring in first? And let's get. All right. Well, Adam is an amazing actor. He started off in a Western stunt show, and is just good at pretty much whatever he decides he wants to be good at. So bring him on in. And do you have his promo photos going?
Hey, surprise!
Yeah, we're still working through some heavy tech understanding. It's a complicated thing trying to put 4 people live.
That is all good, man. I sympathize.
Yeah, so we'll get it down. This is episode 2. There's 100 more after this.
I figure, the more you do it, the easier it gets, right?
Yeah, very much so. So everyone say hello to Adam Gold. As I said, I've worked with him on a couple films now, and he's done an amazing job in both. And he has the unique backgrounds of starting in a Western stunt show. So I think that taught him a lot, especially in today's world where actors want to, a lot of actors, they want to be able to do their own stunts and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So let's bring in our other half and his co-lead in Burning Cigarettes, who won, I think, Best Actress at probably at any short or feature in action on film, 2000, I forget, 14 maybe.
Whatever the heck year it was.
Yeah, it was a while back, but for Burning Cigarettes, out of probably about 400, 500 films. So let's bring in Vicky Dalli. And do we have the promo stuff? Bring in Vicky Dalli.
Hey.
I'm doing something wrong here. Okay, good. How are
We hear you.
All right. Hey, there you go. Hey, Vicky. Yeah, very, very cool. Remember, you guys do not have the sound up on the Facebook live show because it's behind what we're actually discussing. So it's got to go from there to here. I mean, from here to there. So you'll be basically, people will be trying to hear some distorted H.P. Lovecraft type thing going on. That's
just what we want.
yeah. But the beautiful Vicky Dalli is amazing girl, Greek muse. She has the interesting background of that she was a lawyer in Greece and then decided to give up that pursuit and come to the U.S. to pursue her dreams of acting. I think, how many years have you been here when I met you?
6 years ago.
Nice.
Well, I know when I met you, but how long had you already been here pursuing that?
Only 1 year, I think.
Yeah, 1 year.
Yeah.
And then she like cursed the gods because she's like, who is this glass cat guy that dropped down in the my boom boom. But yeah, Vicky is amazing spirit, and she's very, very diligent. She's very like the path to art. Now, my thing is I've always said 1,000 roads to Babylon. There's 1,000 ways something, if not more. Everybody has their own kind of style, from that Mesner to like I see actors go from the hip and it works for them, and then I see actors that are like literally for days on end making postcards and breaking down each line, and you know what I mean. So as long as it gets you to a brilliant end, then it's a good thing. Now, method actors from a directing standpoint are kind of a handful to deal with, but in between shots, to be like, hey, well, how about those Mariners last night? And they're like, what? The Mariners didn't exist in your medieval world? Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's start off with a pretty simple thing. What do you think? What was probably the biggest thing you learned in your experience in burning cigarettes? I know it's a long time ago, but we're going to do a few minutes of reminiscing. Let's start with Adam. What do you think the thing you learned the most in doing that role in that film?
You know, truth be told, I think the role is definitely a different role than the ones that I usually go for. It was a really dark role. If you guys just played the clip, it's pretty dark. I mean, you're dealing with a guy who's got some serious inner demons, and I think that was really my first venture into something like that. But beyond
why you're typecast into the hero type archetype.
You know, for a while it was like the football player, and that was kind of the thing that I started out as, and then it started becoming like, the cowboy, because I do a lot of westerns. But that was the first like kind of darker character that I got to play, and it was cool, kind of getting in that headspace and trying to figure out how to play a believable but interesting dark character without crossing any lines, without taking it too far. But beyond the acting standpoint, I think it also kind of introduced the importance of lighting in film. That was the first noir project I'd ever worked on.
Yeah, I do care a lot about lighting. Yes.
Yeah, and it was very subtle. JD and his lighting. But truth be told, I mean, I had never really realized the importance of how much it can affect the tone of a film. And how much
I would say lighting is your emotion.
Yeah,
so don't give a crap about. Like, I've seen filmmakers that are pretty good. Like, it's decent writing, decent stuff, but they have this somber scene, and yet they have every light on the roof in the room. And they're not even paying attention to lighting, and it's usually beginning filmmakers. And then they're wondering why that scene didn't have the impact they had in their mind when they wrote it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like lighting brings that emotion. If you want laughter or happy stuff, usually you want brighter lighting. If you want heaviness and anger and those type of emotions to be pointed, then you bring that lighting down and dim, shoot it at night, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
To accent that lighting. So I agree. So you think playing a dark character and learning how to be versatile like that and have a little more depth in that range.
Yeah.
And then, understanding the importance of lighting. Those are the two things you think you garnered the most out of it.
I think so, because I mean, as an actor, I think it's important to know, the more that I've gotten into acting, the more that I've realized the importance of figuring out in front of and behind the camera. In order to be better in front of the camera, you have to understand what's going on behind it. You have to understand why the director is saying, you know, well, we don't want too much lighting here. We don't want you positioned in this way. We don't want this and that. And so,
yeah, the devil's in the details. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, what about you, Vicky? What were the things you took away the most from that experience?
One,
Having the glass cock dropped in your life.
what did you say, Mr. Justin?
I said, besides having the glass cock dropped in your life.
No, that's the number
besides
one. You said the number one. I'm going number two then.
Okay.
It was very difficult because the way you shot the scenes in front of the mirror, it seems as if I'm looking through the mirror at Adam, but the reality was I was looking at the mirror, but I was looking at no one. So
Yep.
yeah, so pretty much it was like a monologue, but it was a dialogue. So I had to act and react to silence and to whatever I thought that Adam was doing behind my back because I couldn't see him.
That's true. Imagine.
Because, yeah, especially with the long silence, and you know, it was really hard. So I had no idea what was happening. So I was trying like to feel Adam's spirit behind my shoulder and react to that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of, you also had a lot of monologue-y type dialogue that I wrote for you. So a lot of slower, heavy emotion, heavy impact, a lot of dialogue. I was very, I mean, obviously we had, I think I had like $700 to shoot that. So I didn't have money to shoot explosions and crap. So we had to build all the heaviness and power and impact through dialogue and emotion and lighting and things along those lines. So continue.
You want to continue? Yes. So third thing, I would say the nudity, and fourth, the love scene, love/rape scene. So about the nudity, I had to talk with you about it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it. You know, I was concerned, you know, how it is. Then I thought that because that was an American production, in Europe, we are very more liberal with nude scenes.
Liberal, yeah.
When I say in Europe, I mean like European cinema and movies. So for me, it was okay to do it, but I was thinking that the audience here is going to be different, and I was worrying about how the audience will accept that scene. So I wasn't sure. Then we talked about it, and we found a solution about my outfits and everything. And then
yeah, because in actuality, we didn't really show a lot. So I mean, in actuality, I mean, like on the film itself,
but it's
there wasn't a lot shown. There was one little glimpse of your booty, and then
the background. That's
in the background.
not flattered at all.
Hey, that was Ian doing that cut and editing, man. That was, hey, come on.
I know.
Hey, I know she never lets go about the ass shot, man.
Did you say it again?
Hey, you have a wonderful, beautiful,
Oh, no, change the subject.
driven derriere, man. It's great. It's great. My little Greek muse, it's beautiful. Absolutely. I'm sure it looks great to anyone that watches it, except to you because you're self-critical.
Thank you so much.
But okay, so for you, Vic, it was more about the challenge of doing the intimate scenes and the challenge of throwing a lot of your dialogue to an actor you couldn't see. So that was
intimacy. I wanted to mention that I have zero problem with the intimacy, and the only thing it was the nudity itself. It's not the intimacy, because for every actor, we all have our issues. You know, we have some character or some scenes, some behaviors that it's more difficult to portray. But intimacy for me is not an issue. So that's the reason I thought, yeah, I'm gonna do that, because it's good for a director or a producer or a writer to know that Vicky Dalli can also do that, because I know that other actors they feel, I don't know, some shame. Not that I'm shameless, but I'm not very shy. So I thought I'd do that. I can do that. It's one of the things.
Oh my God, man! You just threw like a machine gun of words That was like a rat-tat-tat-tat World War II moment right there, man. No, and I think you can, Vicky. I mean, I've always thought you were absolutely brilliant, and I think you can do whatever you put your mind to. So I certainly never, and me and you really, we had, before that shot, we had talked many times, but we really had never spent time connected, like hanging out and stuff like that. So, and then all you are is your past experiences a lot of times. So, and I know some of the, you had, I think at that time had told me that you've been already offered many times, like a film where they want you to show nudity or something like that. But then the script really didn't, it was one of those where like the script, it wasn't a brilliant script that, I always say if you're going to do nudity, have it in something powerful where it's a poignant tool. You know what I mean? As opposed to, I have crappy writing, so I'm going to try to make up for that by showing tits and ass.
But I talked to my parents about it, and they said, trust your guts.
Yeah, and your parents love me, man.
Yeah, you do.
Never met me, but they love me.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so that's it's interesting. It's interesting after now so many years. I mean, it's almost 6 years or something like that. So it's now looking back on it, some part of me thinks it was like yesterday, and then other parts of me go, yeah, it was a long time ago. We've all gone through a lot in that time.
Yeah.
And Mark, I've only known for maybe about 6 months, a year. So,
Yeah.
but Mark, I'm sure. What did you think of that film, Mark? I'm sure you've watched it by now, haven't you?
Burning Cigarettes?
Yeah.
Yes. I had to like listen intently because like with the music bleeding over into the words. But overall, I would have to say that that both of y'all had like took JD's words and made it your own, but still brought the point home with what JD was writing about. And that was some very powerful stuff.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It was very kind words. Thanks. We him. He's not going anywhere, right?
Yeah,
What?
no. I paid him right before I asked him that. Anyway, so let's move on. Okay, we started with Adam first. So Vicky, do you have anything you would like to share with the audience about what you've done in from then until now? Any poignant moments of projects or poignant moments of experience within the film industry? Because I know that's your love and your pursuit. Now I know you did something with Dell Victims, although we won't get too much into that because I think that never got out, right? Never released. But you know, hit your moments. What are your moments that you value that you've done in the last 5.5 years?
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's 4.5 years because Burning Cigarettes was 2014. Anyway.
13, although we're towards the end of 18, but yes.
I have no sense of time, so I trust you.
I'm right there with you, Adam. I know it's a long time ago.
Next year, you're right. We did Victims with Mr. Del Weston. I love the script because I know that he saw me in your film, Mr. Glasgow, and he wrote a script for me completely. So everything, it was very close to my reality and to my life. So I did that very happily. And for that script and for that performance, 2015, the Action on Film Festival gave me the Actress of the Year award. So that was a great moment for me. Then after that, I've done a few things. I have like 5, 6 projects. Oh my God, that's a new one.
Yeah, that's Lola.
Sorry for
This is a cute little one, yeah.
Yes, that's baby Lola. She's the rising star of Stormcrow Dreamers Talking Dreamers. Anyway, Vic, no, continue.
So yes, I've been in paranormal activity security squad, which is like how do you call it? For the real paranormal activity, but they have an English name about it and I forget. Like for example, The Scream. It has the scary movie like that thing. How do you call that?
The what?
A parody. I found the word. Yeah, like a parody for the paranormal.
Okay.
Reality? Is that what you said?
It's a parody. Parody?
Parody.
Parody. Yeah, that your accent sometimes, man, throws me off.
Yeah.
I'm like, did she just say like tortellini? Is that what she said?
Anyway, I played in First Line, a feature film, American production, but about Greece and the Elgin marbles. I played in a couple of short films, like. Wait a second, Mr. Glass. Let me go on my IMDb. I don't remember what I did 5 years now.
Yeah, but you don't have to remember. Just stick with the things that are hitting your head. You don't have to do a total discography of your last 5 years. Just stick with the things that have
And Mr. Del
you're thinking of.
Film.
You're thinking of.
Yeah. So
what's the most recent thing you've done?
Escape Artist. That was 1 year ago, 2017. It was a feature film. I have a part there. That's the most recent.
What's the part?
It's a
Femme fatale, like you in leather with a whip in your hand, like smacking people, or what?
No, I'm playing a girl.
You're playing a girl? Oh my god!
I'm playing a woman. I just play a girl, not a woman. So
You're not playing some butch guy, or
female. I play a female who is a fanatic of a specific political party, and the lead who's about to be voted as
cool. So it was good writing, good directing, good experience.
Mm-hmm.
It was good writing, good directing, good experience.
Yes, no complaints.
Very
I
cool.
Bad experiences. Nobody believes me. I don't have bad experiences. Those
I don't believe you.
Not even one. What did you say?
That's right. I mean, I'm sure you're probably very good at turning bad experiences into something positive.
Oh, thank you.
Anybody goes through life with no bad experience. In fact, you had a bad experience with your grandmother recently, and then
no, I said not
and then in Greece, and then in Greece, there's some of the things your parents have gone through in Greece.
No, you become personal, and you're gonna make me cry. I don't want to cry to every interview, Mr. Glasgow. Yes, I lost my grandmother. What do you want me to say about it? It's horrible. I couldn't even manage to go to the funeral. It's
all right. She knows you love her, and she has your spirit in her heart, man.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so let's a big virtual hug, man. It's okay. Emotions are good, Vicky. Heavy emotions are just as beautiful as light emotions. So happiness and sorrow are both equally beautiful and be teaching in their lessons. Now, Adam, let me hit you up. What have you done for the last few years?
Well,
I know you've done a lot of westerns. I know you've done a lot of like I got to talk like a cowboy right now, and
yeah, I got to do a couple of them westerns out there. Done a couple of them and had a blast doing it. I've worked with different filmmakers. One of the ones that I've worked with a couple times now, and I'm continuing to work with him in the future, is Paul Vernon. He is a British filmmaker.
Yeah, I love Paul. Paul's cool.
He's a great dude. He is a wonderful, wonderful guy, and he is one of the most.
I was gonna not do the breaking of the 360 or 180 thing.
Say what?
I was gonna not break that 180 barrier, man.
Exactly. He is
good spirit.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and he loves westerns. It's great to find people who are passionate about any genre really, but when they're passionate about one to the point where they'll fly halfway across the world every single year to film more, it's really something else. And so he and I have collaborated on a lot of different projects now. Did our first almost a full-length feature of Vermijo last year, and I got to play the bad sheriff, which was a nice role to play. Like I said, I like getting into those kind of darker roles.
I've seen trailers. I don't know if I've seen it, the film, but I've seen.
Yeah, it's on.
Like 50 minutes or something like that.
I'm not sure. I know it was on Amazon, but I'm not sure if it's still there. So, but it used to be on Amazon. But yeah,
well, I'm sure Paul will watch this eventually. So kudos to Paul Vernon. If you're watching this and you're into westerns, go check out. He's got a bunch of them. Yeah,
shout out. Yeah, Paul Vernon is. He's got a ton of them. So I've worked with Paul, and I've got some projects coming up with him. hopefully this next year, we've been kind of writing together with a couple of his
We
writers.
should let him know about Vicky. I think Vicky would sound great in some kind of myriad amalgam of her Greek accent mixed with a howdy y'all.
Oh, that's exactly what we need. That's exactly what we need.
Yeah, she could be like the Greek immigrant in that just came out west.
Hey, there you go. Well, if we happen to find a spot, but
I
yes,
guarantee she would look great with a Winchester in her hand doing the lever action.
yeah. Tell me about it, right? Yeah, that'll be her first Western. Break her into that one. But yeah, so done a couple Westerns, done a couple horror features and things like that, and a couple independent projects that have gone around.
You've done a lot of voice work.
Say what?
Voiceover.
Voiceover, yeah. I actually got into voiceover this past year, and I think that's, of all the things, that has been kind of the biggest shift over the past 5 years. Is
Well, you had that earlier, that Adam West Batman voice going.
Yeah, the bat. So I'm putting that to good use. And got into
weren't you just in a video game where you played a princess or something?
a princess.
I'm kidding. I've known Adam a long time, so it's okay for me to periodically mess with Adam.
Fortunately,
no, because Adam has this very deep baritone-y, manly voice. So can you imagine it?
Makes for great princesses.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the voiceover stuff
middle of the hormone therapy, man.
Yeah, right. I'm going for Don LaFontaine. I'm coming for his seat.
Yeah. That's awesome, guys.
So this
is very beautiful that I had you guys on so early, like episode 2. I just think it was this show, and I mentioned it last episode. This idea of this has been something I've wanted to do for a long time, many years. But it takes a lot of the work. It takes the right partner, Mark, someone else, because I knew I couldn't do it on my own. I can't do tech stuff and try to host and interview everyone at the same time.
Yeah.
And all that. I've never been that dumb, whether it be in film or a talk show, that I think I can do everything myself. It just doesn't. I mean, kudos to Robert Rodriguez, but I'd rather find some skilled people around me who can do stuff. So this is a great dream for me. It serves twofold, because I think everyone, even when someone's doing something benevolent, there's still a self aspect to it. I think that's just reality. So yeah, I've always had the dream. I wanted to have an ability to shine a spotlight onto other great artists and great spirits and give them some eyeballs in their direction and let people know how great they are and brilliant. I think that's been something I've wanted to do all my life, and that's something I've always spouted to even you guys when I'm talking about when I get where I'm going with film and having the ability to help talented people have a doorway. But at the same time, it's also to bring my own brand up so that I can get to those films. Because what I've realized in this industry is that regardless of your skill level or your talent level, it's about your brand level first. It's about when you're talking to people, them going, oh, I've heard of that guy. I've heard of that lady. I've heard of that woman. That's going to get you opportunities far more than them willing to take the time to actually look at your talent or skill or
absolutely
any of those things. So, but it's a great opportunity. I'm very glad to have you guys both on here with me, especially in only episode 2. I'll bring you back in maybe a few months.
Look forward to it.
Line down and then hopefully we can talk about maybe by that point hopefully we can go, hey, here's 2 actors from the film we're about to go into production on.
Yeah, hey, fingers crossed. That was another thing. Those 5 years.
Yeah. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to take a short 5-minute break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about. I'm going to bring up some stuff just about life in general, and we'll do like a roundtable kind of response on that. And because I find it very interesting. So like I've done with this show, I wanted to do some things that the way I like it instead of the way a lot of talk shows do it. First of all, not doing one guest at a time, doing all the guests at the same time. getting them to interact, getting them to like, and then you're bouncing back and forth between them. I find that much more dynamic than like talking to one person about everything they do. Okay, now go away, and then getting the next person.
Yeah.
And then secondly, not the current Bill Maher show, but the original one, when they were all on a couch, politically incorrect.
Yeah.
Where he would bring all those people, and I mentioned this last year, where he'd bring all those different comedian, a politician, an actor, and they were all sitting on a couch just talking about life. I always found that interesting to see all those such different perspectives, interacting, communicating, and stuff like that. So, but anyway, you guys, about 3 to 5 minutes. We're gonna take a little break, let our beautiful guests stretch their legs, get some water, and then we're gonna come back with a whole second half of the show where we're just talking about life. And Lola will be there as well, right, Lola?
The mascot.
Yes. What is that? No. You can't talk to your agent right now. No. You guys, 5-minute break. See you in 5.
All right. See you in 5.
All right.
All right, are we back?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
We are.
And we're live.
I'm sorry?
And we're live.
Right.
Hey, you guys, first of all, I want to give a big shout out of
All right, are we back?
And blessings
We are.
and warm heart and all that.
And we're live.
To the people in California dealing with the fire.
And we're live.
I've had people that I know. A guy who literally was on top of his roofs shooting a hose at a 15-foot wall of flame that was coming towards his houses, and then he finally realized it was kind of pointless, and then he had to like help people in the area grab animals and head out. So it's been a devastating fire. So I want to wish great warmth and love and blessings to all the people in Southern Cal that are dealing with that. So I wish everything gets better for you, and it will, and I know that.
Yeah.
Now, secondly, let's talk about a little bit about life. Let's start with a softball question I did last week. What's the most beautiful film you've seen in the last year or two, and why? Let's start with Adam.
Oh God. Well, right now you're going to catch me coming off of I have been a lifelong Freddie Mercury and Queen fan, and I just saw Bohemian Rhapsody last night, so it's not fair right now. That is pretty much the only thing that's on my mind. But I thought that was a beautiful film for a beautiful individual, beautiful spirit. And
So
I thought
it was good. I haven't seen it yet, but
it really was good. It really was good. I think that as difficult as it is to really nail somebody of that caliber, you know, it's hard enough just acting a character who doesn't exist. It's a whole other ballgame trying to accurately mimic somebody who is not only just, you know, just existed, but somebody who is such a legend. And I thought that, you know, Rami Malek, I think that's how you pronounce his name, did an amazing job. And the movie was beautiful. And so that's pretty much just, that has been everything on my mind.
well, and it can launch careers. I mean, Val Kilmer with The Doors, his career was already launched, but that certainly cemented him as a great actor doing The Doors. And then, although they also can kind of go crazy, because I remember Val Kilmer went kind of nuts after The Doors film. And then you had Joaquin Phoenix, Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
And he went a little nuts though too after doing that role.
You know, I think it's kind of just it's the ebb and flow. I think it comes with the territory.
Well, they're both method actors too, so
yeah.
they went really deep to make
You're diving into somebody else's body and mind and soul and everything. So,
okay. So now, Vic, what's a great film you've seen in the last year or two?
One of the films that I watched recently is one of my favorite ones, but the last one I watched and I liked was Suspiria.
Was what?
Suspiria. It's not my accent. That's the way they say it. Suspiria.
What did you say? It was burrito? Is that what you said?
No, tortellini, Mr. Glasgow. I said again tortellini.
It was enchiladas? Is that what you said?
It's Suspiria. Mark, anyone to help me?
Suspiria. I haven't heard of it. What's it about?
It's a thriller, but it's about a dancing school, and it's a very mystery like thriller, and about witches and about Europe, and it's amazing. I liked it very much. It's a very weird film. I didn't have like good rates from audience or from the critics, but I liked it very much.
It doesn't always mean everything. You know. Rotten Tomatoes isn't always right.
Yeah.
You know, so no, I mean, you know, come on. There's been plenty of films I've seen where the critics love it, and I thought it was a snooze fest. You know, King's Speech, it won Academy Awards, and all the critics loved it. I think I took like 28 naps in that film, man.
Which was it? Which was that one? Was that the one with Forrest Whitaker?
King's Speech? No, it was basically like a lot of films that win awards. It was a character study in like England, Victorian times.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it was you know, a bunch of people standing around talking for 2 hours. Being dramatic.
Yeah, whatever floats your boat.
Talking and being dramatic. Oh, I'm sorry, Vicky. Did you like that film, King's Speech?
And after that, okay, yeah, I liked it. It's not my favorite movie for sure, but okay, it was a good movie.
Hey, you know, a lot of people love Steel Magnolias, but my mom made me watch that when I was like 11. You know, go with her to the movie theaters, and I thought my whole manhood was trying to rebel and run out of the theater as soon as I mean, but that was an 11-year-old in the early 80s. I was like, you know, you're taking me to a girl flick? What? You know what I mean? So such is life. I might get the LGBT community yelling at me for responding to the 80s 11-year-old boy mentality, but you know, we'll deal with it. But what you decided, now you said it was weird. In what way? It was very artsy?
It was very atmospheric and very mysterious and very raw. So it had some very hard to watch scenes, and I liked it very much.
Well, that sounds like most of my films. So
you have to watch it. You have to watch it. Mr.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. You'll have to send me a link. You have to send me a link to it or something like that. Because otherwise, I'm going to be going, man, I cannot find any movie named Burrito.
Die with a movie that starts with an S.
I know. I'm just messing with you. It's all right. Now, you know what I just read earlier today, and I thought was very scary and strange is, I guess the president of China is talking about that they need to start training their army to be much more aggressive and offensive. Where their whole thing has been more, their military strategy has always been more like defend our, what we think we own.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it was kind of worrisome. I read the article where the president was saying, well, we need to, and they straight up said because of U.S. aggression. I think it had to do with the South China Sea thing or whatever, but they were saying that we're going to start rearranging our whole military outlook and strategies and all that stuff to incorporate more offensive mentality, I guess. And I thought that was scary. I mean, what do you guys think of that?
I mean, I grew up in a military family. My dad's military. And so, you know, we did a lot of traveling, and I've, you know, been to he was stationed at the UN for a while. And so I've gotten to grow up with a lot of different perspectives. And I think one thing that makes me more concerned in current times is the fact that this is the first time in a very long time that the US actually has not straight on competition right now, but China's catching up, and, you know, Russia's catching up, and they are together something that could be very, very scary. And, you know, I think that something that people need to kind of consider is that at this stage, you know, we're beyond the wars of, you know, like the olden days where, you know, just two countries kind of line up and shoot at each other. We're dealing with levels of dangerous weapons that have never existed before. We're dealing with, you know, missiles that can strike a pinpoint target from across the world. And all of, you know, the countries are starting to develop that technology. And so it's a scary thing when you have both sides of this kind of tenuous balance of power that are kind of rocking the boat. Because right now, I don't think people should be rocking any boats. And I think that what we've seen over the last like decade is it's tipping that balance in a way that I don't think is necessarily good. And as somebody who lives in California, which is, you know, a pretty solid target for, you know, any sort of situation, it's a scary thought. You know, it's a scary thought. The Russians.
Well, I think some of the issues is that we're now, regardless of what anyone says, we're now an oligarchy, and we're being controlled by a bunch of corporations whose only real goal is to make money, regardless of the cost. And even though maybe a lot of U.S. citizens like to stay blissfully ignorant of those facts, a lot of people in a lot of other countries are very cognizant.
Yeah.
Mentality and that truth. And I think that hurts us a lot and makes people very aggressive, because they're kind of like, wow, these people just want more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
And our problem is that they take the normal American, which is a major part of the population, and they take these corporate elite that are making these kind of decisions, and they merge them into the same thing. But when they're referencing it, which is not very beneficial to us, because most Americans aren't like that. Don't want to go mess with other people like that.
I think that's part of the problem. Is it's, you know, it tilts so far from left to right. You know, it's very polarized right now, and so there's no in the middle. There's no, you know, medium zone. There's no happy medium with really any decision that gets made. So yeah.
Well, humanity tends to be like that anyway. I mean, even though the middle ground is usually where the truth and the right answer and the right, humanity likes going off in extremes, one or the other. But Vic, what's your take on it?
And no, Mr. Glasgow, that conversation makes me feel very uncomfortable, because I come from one of the most democratic countries in the world, and Greece invented democracy anyways, and I'm a very liberal person, so I don't believe I don't believe in borders, I don't believe in passports, I don't believe in guns and wars, so, you know, yeah.
Yeah, but that is a take on it.
Almost by default, in my opinion. I don't know if it's possible to ever change that. I don't think. Maybe it's very surreal. It's not realistic at all. But that's I would wish.
That's all right. We'll go to.
And don't think I'm a crazy person. I'm not.
That's still a take on it. That's still
not at all. None of those.
No, it's still a belief, but sometimes conversation and conversation and dynamics are good when you're uncomfortable. It's not always, it's like a film set. You're always comfortable on your on that film set. You're not going to sometimes get the best performances out of people. You know what I mean? It's that line of tension. But we'll talk about something that's a derivative off of something Adam said, but it's a different subject, one that you might be about comfortable but less uncomfortable with. And it's an example of what you said. It's of extremes. Now, a lot of people malign the millennial generation for a lot of reasons. They say they're lazy and not respectful and want everything handed to them and whatever. But this is going back to what you were referencing, Adam, of extremes. Now, my parents' generation, the ones that raised us, might have been a little too harsh, in their discipline. You know, where it bordered over into abuse too many times. And where I think the truth is, you need both. You know what I mean? You need discipline and consequences taught to a child. Because to me, the most important job as a parent is for you to ready your child to deal with reality.
Yeah.
To me, that's your biggest job. You know, and so there needs to be a taught consequences and discipline, and you know, there's things that happens based on choices you make and all that stuff. But at the same time, I think supporting them and then inspiring your children is also a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? So I think the problem is what we were referencing is it went from my generation of parents to all of a sudden you had multiple generations of parents. Then went, oh, I don't want to be like my parents.
Yeah. So they go the complete
and
opposite.
so they go the exact opposite direction, and there's like no consequences for anything. They're not teaching them responsibility. They're not teaching them. Like when I was growing up, you were taught a work ethic before you got your first job. Like your parents taught you a work ethic, whether it be like here's that $5 a week, go to take the trash out. You know, whatever, wash the dishes, whatever it is, you're taught to work ethic. So by the time you got a job when you were 15, 16, whatever it was, you already had a work ethic.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like some of these parents are sending their kids to their jobs to get a work ethic. You know what I mean? Like it's all of a sudden the job's responsibility, the manager's responsibility to teach their kids.
It becomes society's responsibility to raise their kids, and I think that's part of the problem.
Because with society won't really do that, and then you end up having kids that aren't either prepared to deal with reality, or know how to, or have those skills, personality-wise, social-wise. But Vic, what's your opinion on that?
I agree very much with everything that you said. I believe that your generation, Mr. Glasgow, is like the most repressed generation by their parents and by their kids also. By two generations, they are in the middle and they're very repressed because their parents were very strict with them. And those people, like your age and older than you, they tried to provide a way better life than the one that they had. So to their kids. And I find that very normal and it's like very human to really wish for your kid and try to have your kid like all the things that you couldn't have because your parents were like a different generation and with different older minds, etc., etc. So I find it normal and cute, but that's the reason our generation, mine and Adam's, that we came out more spoiled. But I don't believe that we don't fight. I don't believe that at all, because I see Adam fighting very much, and I know how hard I am fighting right now. So I don't believe that. We are spoiled, and it was very difficult for us because we grew up having our parents providing anything to us. So the moment after 18, 20, 22 years old, it depends for every individual is different. We really, until that age, we had everything ready, handing to us. So after that, we really have to start fighting at the very, like, when we are adults already. It's too late for us. It's very difficult when you have something to be taken away from you. But at least you had the luxury. You didn't have anything. You had to fight from the beginning. 5, 6, 7, 8 to 12 years old. You had to fight. You knew that you wanted a small thing. You're not gonna get it like that. You have to work and earn that thing. We never learned that. So when I become 25 years old, for example, and my parents say, that's it. Like you're by your own. You have to learn
And they
today.
didn't give you the skill set to be able to deal with that. And that makes me sad, because that's what I see with a lot of these kids is that they're like, and I'm talking even kids younger than you because of what I'm doing for work. I work with a lot of these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids now. And if they had to go out on their own right now, they would be in the streets because they have no clue how to save money, pay rent, pay bills, any of those things. You know what I mean? So it's because they haven't been taught any of those things. And so I think, like I said, I think the truth and the right way is somewhere in the middle of those two things. I think still you could have still taught them disciplines without being abusive, and still taught them consequences, and still make them earn stuff, and yet still be supportive and inspiring, want them to have things. I think, and this is where I think humanity has a lot of issues, is we don't tend to like just moderate. We tend to go from over here to way over here.
Yeah.
When this gets older, we have too many problems over here, then we're gonna go way over here again. You know what I mean? And it's like, instead of maybe just taking a little bit of each and finding a middle area to exist in.
Glasscock, we fight. I know that we don't fight for the society or in groups because we became very selfish, but we fight for ourselves. I can tell you. We're fighters and survivors.
I don't know. I'm 90 years old now, so I'm gonna like start like I think I'm gonna start shooting a film with my little walker and like have my little eye thing and go, okay, yeah.
The like ear horn.
Yeah, my little walker's gonna have like a little horn and like real nice rims on it. Yeah, telling you. Okay, so let's go on to something else. Where do you think art in general is right now in society? And okay, let me preface this with my thoughts. Okay, so art, when taught at a young age, when kids have an opportunity to choose art as a pursuit, it teaches them thought processes that allow them to question things, that allow them to find the truth of things. Art teaches compassion, teaches passion, it teaches questioning, it teaches a lot of things. To me, that's one of the main reasons why you see a lot of it, in my opinion, and also that it's not fiscally productive for most, is you see a lot of it getting unsupported and taken out of a lot of curriculums across the nation, especially in public schools, for little ones. And then it's more focused on computer, math, those type of things, which from a society standpoint, it's, so here's the question. Where do you think we are in the support of arts, whether it be for little ones or whether it be as a society in general? And then where would you like to see it go? And we'll start with you on this one.
I started with that. I was hoping Adam would go first because I didn't understand the question. Can Adam go first?
The question is, where do you think our society, the support for art is in our society, for like supporting art for little ones as they grow, and supporting art in general in our society? And where do you think it is, and where do you think it should be?
Yeah. If Vicky wants a minute, I can happily jump in while she.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Thoughts.
It is because she wants to analyze everything. She's like, can you do a storyboard and a pie chart for me and let me study?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get back to us in 5 minutes, and we expect all the analysis.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, so I think I've noticed a very similar trend. I think that as time goes on and as technology becomes more prevalent in society, my girlfriend, for example, she is an engineer, and she was for a while teaching kids how to program. And I mean, when I was growing up, when I was in school, that was never something that was even on the table. But now it's something that kids are starting programming at, you know, first grade, second grade, third grade. And I think that as times change, people are trying to make sure that, you know, the kids are, I guess, in that on that same level as far as technology goes. And unfortunately, one of the side effects is that you wind up with things like the arts kind of taking a hit. And you have a lot of schools, I know in the schools that I graduated from, you know, they dropped several of those classes, several of those courses. I originally never thought that I was going to get into acting. It was originally going to be law school. I was gonna join Vicky up there. But, you know, in school, one of the best things for me, I think, was getting to participate in those, you know, arts courses in the theater and kind of seeing my love of music, though I have very little musical talent, you know, getting to experience that sort of thing. And I think that it's a dangerous thing that society's doing by slowly kind of fading out the arts. And I think that one of the most poignant things is when I first started acting, I was on a film set, and I remember seeing like a whole bunch of Chinese crewmen. And that was a trend that I noticed, like set after set after set. And I eventually kind of got into a long conversation with them, and they said that they were actually getting paid China was paying its students to go overseas to go to United States film schools in order to kind of develop that creativity that for such a long time China had not really pursued. China had banned like science fiction and fantasy. And
I know, destroyed Kung Fu theater, man. I was mad.
It's crazy. And so they were coming to the US to kind of develop the creativity that they felt the, Chinese government felt had kind of been stifling them for a long time, because they were very good at recreating stuff, but not very good at pioneering stuff. And I think that that's really what the arts is great for. It's for, giving people in every profession, in every avenue of life, the ability to see things for more than they currently are. The Star Trek example, cell phones were not even a thing that were really thought of until Star Trek all of a sudden comes up with this idea of this communication device that is not attached to anything, that is mobile, that you can take with you wherever you go. And
you
so
go, Scotty, give me all you got.
That's right. Beam me up. So I think that that's kind of a dangerous slope that we're walking on right now, is if we eventually make that whole shift and just say, you know what, the arts they're not financially productive for most people. They're, not as important as some of these other things. If you don't give them at least a fair amount of coverage, a fair amount of time in those developmental years, you wind up with people who aren't really able to think outside the box, people who aren't able to see beyond the here and now and, think of what could be. So, I would like to see it in the future. I'd like to see it balanced. I'd like to see, our education kind of geared towards something where people learn the necessity of life, because that was on that last subject. I think it's important that kids know how to do their taxes and how to, write a check and all of those things when they get out of school. But also to keep people from losing that creative spark, because I feel like that's such an important thing that people seem to be losing a lot of right now. And I think
it's also a lot of the stuff that teaches you at a young age, compassion, passion, and how to question things and not things as they're. Have you noticed, Mark? Every time you cough or sneeze, the focus goes on to you.
I think it's by the sun.
Do you have your hand on a button that every time you cough or sneeze?
I try not to.
Yeah, that's fun. Okay, so Vicky, what's your take on that subject? Do you have it now? Did you do your broadsheet marketing plans and
So,
breakdown?
Adam, thank you so much for trying to help. You didn't help at all. I'm even more confused now than before about that question. Because what is the question here? Technology vs arts.
No, it's the in public schools, especially all over the United States, in the last 15, 20 years, you've seen a drastic cutting of support for art programs, especially in public schools that are government funded, but most of our kids go to. See more and more of those art programs taken out and ripped out, and what's left is just math and science and things they think are productive fiscally for our society.
I understand that. I think that society adapts. So the reason that's happening is because these are the new needs of the new models, and I'm talking about kids. So this is why this is happening. I can't say if that's wrong or right or bad or good. It's a reality, and this is why society follows the needs of its members. So I find it very normal. I wouldn't be.
See, I don't know if that's always true though, because a lot of times it's decided by a few individuals at the top. It's not decided, especially when you're talking about government funding. It's decided by some small little tiny committee of like 5 senators who like gerrymandered their way for like the last 40 years into those offices. They're a lot of times pushing agendas, not of the people, but agendas of whatever corporate sponsors behind their political campaign.
Well, you can use technology and whatever it offers in a very artistic way. If you're artistic, it's gonna come.
It's gonna come out anyway. I agree.
So,
I'm more worried about the borderline people who maybe are brilliantly talented, but there are some people that are brilliantly talented that don't have self-confidence, don't have, because of whatever reason, maybe they had a bad childhood, not the greatest family environment. This is mainly focused on public schools, and public schools are mainly a lot of lower middle class and poor kids. And a lot of those kids, a lot of families that are poor or lower middle class come up in a very volatile, warlike atmosphere because there's nothing that will cause a fight quicker than lack of money.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when they don't have the opportunity to take those artistic classes and have someone teach them how to release it or how to access it or how to do those things, I think sometimes you can leave a lot of kids behind. And I don't think, little Joey Sanchez, because his parents are poor, should have any less opportunities as far as at least his spirit and stuff like that, and the development of his spirit, than say Jimmy Joe White, who was born in like Beverly Hills, or you know what I mean, like goes to a private school. I think there should be especially with something that doesn't really require a ton of money to support stuff like painting or acting or.
Now, Mr. Glasgow, you're opening a huge subject. If you're asking about free education or free health, that's what's happening in the system here. I find it very unfair, personally, if you're asking my opinion about that.
We can go there. I wasn't really going into that aspect of it, but yeah, because you come from Greece, where a lot of that stuff is socialized medicine. I mean, really, we're the only industrialized nation in the entire world that doesn't have socialized medicine. So. And that's not because we can't afford it, much to like all the reasons they usually give. It's not that. We would actually spend less money if we put everyone on Medicare than we do now with all the grants and stuff we hand to county hospitals and for uninsured people. So that's not it. But we won't get into that because that's a
whole nother can of worms.
That's like a whole thorny subject. But anyway, okay, so let's we're going to wrap it up here soon, but what I want to do first is each one of you, I want you to look at the camera and tell me what your future aspirations are, or what you're working on right now and your biggest goal going forward, at least I know a lot of us as artists, we have multiple goals, we have multiple things we want to do. But what's your main thrust from this day going forward that you're kind of having your crosshairs? We'll start with Vicky because she should be able to do this one without a analytical break.
Look at the camera. I'm gonna deliver that to you and to the audience. 1 second here, straight to the camera. So, and straight to God. Oh, okay. So, I hope and wish, and I'm gonna try for it. In the next years, I'm gonna be working more and more in acting projects. I want to not have big time gaps between movies. I want to have one movie after the other so that I can stay focused and remain like towards my going towards my goal. I want to. What else do I want? Are you asking me for like the ultimate goal in my life?
No, I already know that. You want to be a A-list actress.
Yeah, okay, an Oscar winner. So that's the ultimate goal for everyone.
But what's your immediate goal? What's your immediate goal, Vicky? Like, so you want to maybe land a good role in a big feature? That's your big focus right now?
As I think the majority of the actors, I would prefer movies over TV shows, but I wouldn't turn down a good TV show. So yes, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, it could be like the Greek beauty talking about burritos.
Burritos and tortellini. And what else is
burritos and tortellini, yes. But no, that's beautiful. And if you now, I'm not going to write you a feature for someone else to shoot, but if you are trying to keep working and you don't have anything at the current time, but you have access to some local film people, let me know and I'll write you a short or something specific for you that you can have someone shoot for you in LA so you can get some more stuff going. Okay. Very, very nice of you. Like, although like now all of a sudden I hear Windex calling out and screaming, let me clean that. Anyway, so Adam, why don't you hit me up with what you got?
All right. So I think my immediate future career goals, I've been working on, I think, my own writing for a little while, and I've always enjoyed it. And I think by the end of this year, I would like to have at least a couple episodes of a series shot and out there and in the public.
Like a web series?
Yeah, I think a web series. Ideally, I would love it to, go to Netflix, go to Amazon, whoever wants to pick it up, but got to shoot it first. So I would love to get that done. I'd like to have a couple episodes of that, and I would love to.
My suggestion would be that get two shot, then pitch it.
Exactly. Yeah, get something good shot and then pitch it and pray for the best. And then I think with the voiceover work, I've really enjoyed the voiceover work. I'd love to get a.
Yeah, because you don't have to take a shower or anything. You just
literally
go in there and
I've got my studio like right over there. It's great. So I'd love some recurring voiceover work for some of the bigger companies because I've gotten really fortunate over the past year or two, and I'd like to take that to the next step. So that's the next immediate goal. And then my girlfriend and I have been working on a feature film script, and it's, in the fledgling stages, but I really, really like it. And I think it's got a lot of potential. So next, 2 years, I would like to say, next 2 years, I'd like to have that finished and ready to submit to some hopefully big places.
Well, I think Disney recently has been looking for Biff the Hairy Princess, dude. So that might work out.
There we go. Yeah, they've got every other.
About a princess named Biff,
right?
Going through.
Mom always did want me to be in Disney.
Going through some changes.
That's right.
Oh,
if there was ever a time, though, JD, this is the time.
Yeah. Biff the Princess. No, that's a winning title right there, man. Yeah, I see Disney written all over. I'm telling you.
Great.
Anyway, I want to thank you guys both for coming on, and we'll do it again in a few months. But it's just been very, very beautiful having you both on. You're both beautiful spirits. I love you both. Lola loves you. Hasn't met you yet, but I'm sure she will. Yeah. But it's great, and for those of you out there, both of them are cast in my my feature Blade and Blood, which we are seeking funding for right now. So you can go check them out in their bios. Mark will put any links they gave him when we download this and put it on YouTube, and then up here as well. And then, or you can go to bladeandblood.com. It's got them up there as actors in the actors in their bios, and I'm sure it's got some links there as well. But it's been very beautiful. This would be also the time where once we have sponsors, I would re-put your sponsorship out there right now. And then again, we're going to be taking next week off, you guys, because next week's Thanksgiving, so we won't be here next week. But in 2 weeks, we have an amazing show with one of the most well-known female fantasy authors out there, who writes a lot of urban fantasy about a skin changer, a Native American girl, Faith Hunter.
Nice.
She's going to be, she's an amazing person. She's got an amazing following. And then she's going to be paired with an East Coast wrestling legend, Andrew Anderson. So, and he's also an actor as well. It was a villain on Gotham and a few other things. So it's going to be a show in 2 weeks. Come back to see Faith Hunter and Mr. Anderson, Andrew Anderson. But thank you guys, Adam Gold, Vicky Dalli, and then of course, as always, my co-host Mark Potter, who keeps it all together and not collapsing and disappearing. But I want you guys follow these people. These are two very beautiful and talented spirits. And you will not regret keeping track of what they do and when they do it. They will blow you away if you get an opportunity to see their acting ability. I'm sure we'll put something in the link that'll allow you to chase down some of those things. Again, episode 2 of Storm Crow, Dreamers, talking to dreamers. Love you all. Peace.
So much. Thank you very much. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Mr. Glasscock. Thank you, Mark. Adam, it was so nice to see you.
It was so nice. This was a wonderful reunion, you guys. JD, Mark, thank you so much for putting this on.
You're welcome.
This was the best. Looking forward to the next time.
All right, man. Big love, guys.
All right.
Right.
Peace.